powder brush if you want to set. Hey guys, it's Natasha. Welcome back to my channel. So for today, I wanted to do a little bit more of an educational video. As you can tell by the title, this video is going to be all about brushes. Now, brushes are something that are really essential to makeup artistry, and when you are applying your makeup and when you're doing makeup, whether you are a makeup artist, you know, freelancing, or whether you are doing makeup on yourself. So that's what I want to talk about today. I just want to talk about makeup brushes because that's something that I have collected a lot of. I have so many brushes, like it's not necessary for me to have that many brushes, but again, because I was freelancing and I was a makeup artist before I had my kids, I used to do makeup for clients all the time, and then again I used to do makeup on myself. Now I am a self-taught makeup artist. I did go to school for makeup as well, but I learned really like basic, I would say European style makeup. Everything that I know that you guys see me do, that's all self-taught. So I basically taught myself how to do that, again by watching videos and by, you know, trial and error and just practicing on myself. So without further ado, I just want to talk about some makeup brushes. Again, all the details and everything will be listed down below. I'm gonna try to be as informative as possible, and you don't need, again, this many, but I did want to point out like different brands that have the same kind of tools or the same kind of brushes. So that being said, let's get right into it. And again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know what else you guys want to see. I love hearing what you guys want to see. It really motivates me to start filming again, and I kind of just want to get back on track into filming and all that stuff because this is something that I love doing. And yeah, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the bell notification so you get notified every single time I upload a video. So yeah, let's get right into it. Start off with face brushes, and then I'm going to move on to eye brushes. So for face, my main tool that I love to use is a beauty blender. You can use an actual beauty blender. This is the Sephora beauty blender. I really like this one just because I love the way it's shaped as well and how like soft it is, and I love the way it applies my foundation like so flawlessly. And I love how the pointed area here, I can get right underneath my eye and really blend my concealer out. I did really love the original beauty blender when it first came out, but then again, I don't know what happened over the years. I feel like they changed the quality, or they changed the texture of the sponge itself. It's not the same as it used to be, and I find like this compared to this, I think it's a lot cheaper as well. And like, well, size wise, when you wet this, it does get like this big as well, but I just feel like if you can get your hands on the original beauty blender, yes, it's amazing, but price wise, I think this is a little bit more affordable. I can't remember what these retail for. I think about like $26 or $25, whereas this one is $15. So, and plus I feel like this lasted me a lot longer than my beauty blender itself. My beauty blender, every time, even though I'm using the beauty blender soap to wash it, I feel like it rips and like they fall apart so easily, whereas this one has lasted me such a long time. And even if it is starting to like fall apart, it starts to look like this, but still, like, you know, it lasts a really long time. So, and I do take care of my sponges. I use like, you know, really like gentle soap, whether it's the Purity face wash or whether it's the beauty blender cleaner, stuff like that, to really take care of it. Another sponge that I want to talk about is this Morphe one. I would say it's nice if you want to, like, you know, carve out your contour, stuff like that. I just feel personally like it's really stiff for me. A lot of people do love it and a lot of people do hate it, so it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with this sponge. It's just personal preference on what you like and how you like to apply your makeup. But for me, I personally just like this to just clean up my contour if I'm gonna be baking and stuff like that, just to clean it up. I just feel like it's way too stiff for me to use. But my main tool, I would say, is my all-time favorite is the Sephora sponge. I do everything with this. If you watch my videos, you know I apply my foundation with this. I apply my concealer and blend out my concealer with this. I even set my foundation with this sponge, like the powders and stuff. I like to go in with a damp sponge, and again, I just like to use either my Huda Beauty powder, my Kat Von D powder, any sort of powder. I like to use a sponge to set it. I just feel like it presses it into the skin really nicely, seamlessly, and it's not cakey. And with the powder, it just really softly blends everything in, and again, it's seamless. So yeah, that's the first tool that I want to talk about because this has been my all-time favorite and I've been using it for like I would say about a year or 2 years now. This is the way I like to apply my foundation, powders, everything. For foundation, if you want to use a brush instead of a sponge, my two favorite brushes that I would recommend for applying foundation, liquid foundation or cream foundation to your face, one is this buffer brush. This is the Morphe M439. It's just like this. It's just a big fat, you know, brush like this. Again, it's synthetic fibers, so it's not going to like soak up all of your makeup. It is going to take your foundation and it's just going to buff it into your skin without soaking up too much product. The only thing I don't like about brushes, whichever brush it is, even though it's synthetic and it applies it, I just feel like sometimes your foundation can be streaky. So yeah, anytime I do use a brush to apply my foundation, even though like, yeah, it gives it a really natural finish, I just feel like after I'm done applying my foundation with the brush, I do have to go in and kind of just like blend everything with my sponge, but it does apply it really nicely and gives you more of a natural finish. So my favorite brushes again for that, this is the Morphe M439, which is just this big fat, big blending one. And then my other favorite is the G31. Again, this is from Morphe as well. It's just like their angled kabuki brush. As you can see, there's still a little bit of foundation in it. The only thing I find with these brushes is no matter how many times I wash it, I feel like product or like foundation just doesn't come out. That's why I stopped using like brushes to apply foundation as well, just because one, it's streaky, and then two, it takes forever to get all that gunk out of your brush, especially with foundation. So yeah, this is the Morphe, this is the G31. Again, it's an angled brush like this, and I think this is synthetic as well. I'm gonna try my best to mention it in the video, but if I don't, I will list it in the description box down below, just because their gunmetal collection is no longer available in stores or on their website. These are, I think they're discontinued, but that's why I can't find it on their website, so I will list it down below. So I really like this, again, to apply foundation. If you are a type of person that likes to use a big brush, you know, to set your face, then I'm going to talk about some brushes as well. My all-time favorite collection, I would say, from Morphe is their gunmetal collection. So the gunmetal collection looks like this. It's a really nice, sleek packaging, and it's just, again, it's their silver metallic, you know, packaging, and I love this collection. I've had this, I got this from IMAX, so I got like the powder brush, you know, the angled brush, eyeshadow brushes and stuff like that. I really like the packaging with this. I feel like because the bristles are synthetic, but like I just love the way it applies your makeup, and it's so flawless. Again, it works really nicely. So if you were to get a powder brush, I really like this one. This is again from their gunmetal collection. And if you were to get another one, I would say the Sigma. This is the F30. It's their big large powder brush that looks like this. So this is this brush, and this is synthetic as well. So with synthetic, again, it will give you more of a natural finish with applying powders to your face. So these are the two brushes I recommend if you are going to be using powder to set your face and you want to use like a brush. These are my my go-to brushes right over here to set your powder. Moving on to like under eye. So again, for concealer, the best tool that I like to use is my finger, just because again, your fingers are also a really good tool when it comes to applying makeup. So a lot of people feel like it's weird and they don't like the finish of it. I love applying my concealers with my finger and then like blending it out with my sponge, just because I feel like, especially with my cream concealers, I feel like my fingers, with the heat, it really melts the product. And like when I'm applying my concealer, especially underneath my eyes with my finger, it really just like, it gives it a really nice finish. And then I like to blend it in with a sponge going in. So if you, for example, want to use something else, you can use brushes to apply it. Now brush wise, if you want to use something, again, I would recommend using something more synthetic. Now when it comes to setting, so when I, for example, if I'm baking underneath my eyes, when I'm done baking and I want to wipe away the bake now, what I like to use is this brush right over here. This is the Morphe M438, and then Sigma has one too. It's just, again, a pointed brush like so, and this is perfect because the way it's shaped, you can get right underneath your eye and you could just sweep away all that excess powder. And even if you're like baking here, it's really easy to clean up your contour with. So this is the one from Morphe. The Sigma one is the Sigma F35. So again, You can see they're both exactly the same. They're tapered, and the brush wise, they both feel like they're exactly the same material. If not, this one feels, the Sigma one feels just a tad bit softer, but I feel like that's because it's washed, and this one I used after I washed it. So that's these two brushes right over here. Perfect, again, for cleaning up contour, cleaning up the bake, all of that stuff. So I really like these two brushes. Another one you can use is this one right over here. This is by Kat Von D, and again, it has the angled contour brush, and it also has that pointed brush right underneath. When I had the Kat Von D Shade Light Contour Palette, I used to love using this brush to go in with the banana shade, and that the first two shades, there was like a lighter shade in that banana shade, and I really like to use this to set my under eye concealer. It works so nicely, so flawlessly, and then when I was done, I would just use this to brush it away. So if you have this brush, it is really nice, and I love the way you can use the angled one to contour with. So I'm just talking about a few brushes. Again, these are not all necessary. You don't need all of them. That's why I'm giving you like one or two different options, because say you wanted to get one over the other, I don't know what good ones are, I guess. Just to have like a staple, if you were to build one good brush set, these are the brushes that I would recommend. And again, I'm mentioning different brands because, some people don't like one brand over the other. The next brush that I want to talk about is this big fan brush right over here. Again, this is by Morphe. You could use any large big fan brush. People use this again to highlight. I like to use this to contour. So why I like to use this for contour, just because I feel like that shape that it has, when I go in with my bronzer, I feel like I feel like I could really just like really get in and just like use this to contour. It's really nice. Again, it doesn't have a number on it, but I will get it off their website for you. But this is another one of my favorites to use for contouring. And then you can obviously use smaller brushes as well. When you guys watch my videos, you guys see me using this one a lot. This is the Sigma F10. This is their powder / blush brush. It's a synthetic material, and it is engineered to better hold and apply your product and blend your product. So that's why I think I really like this as well, just because I love the way it applies my bronzer. I just feel like I just swirl it in my bronzer, and then I like to start, and I go in circular motions like this, and I really love how flawless it applies my bronzer. I've been using this brush, I don't even know how many years, but this has been my all-time favorite to apply bronzer. You could use this one. This is the Morphe M530. So it looks like this. So makeup brushes made with animal hair or natural hair have the ability to pick up product, right? And then they hold on to the product, and when you're applying it, it kind of uses your natural oils in your skin and everything to blend the product really nicely without giving you that blotchy look. So that's why I like using this as well for contouring. Even if you want to apply blush or anything like that as well, you could use a natural hair brush, which is really good, and it really applies the product nicely and blends it out evenly as well, so you don't have any blotchy spots on your face. So next, moving on to my all-time favorite blush brush. Again, I use this in a lot of my videos. This is the Morphe G4. It's this gunmetal brush, again, right over here with the gunmetal handle. I love how it has the synthetic fibers, and again, it picks up a blush really nicely and it applies it seamlessly. I like to use this. You guys have seen me use it in a million videos, and I like to use it even when I'm not filming on an everyday basis. I love this. Is like my go-to blush brush. And then before I was using this one, I was using this one. So it's just a different shape of the brushes. It's more of like a tapered kind of brush. But then this is the Morphe G8. Again, it's from the Gunmetal collection. I really just like the way these bristles pick up product and apply it to your face. It's so seamless. It's so nice. And again, it just blends everything in really nicely. So if you can get your hands on the Gunmetal collection, I loved this collection so much, you guys don't even understand. But these are my all-time favorite brushes for blush. Lastly, I'm moving on to highlighter. My all-time favorite brushes for highlight, I'm going to talk about the first one that I'm like is my ride or die. This was the fan brush that I first started using. Again, the M310. This is $7. It's the best fan brush you can find. Again, natural fiber. That's why I love it for highlight, because when I pick it up, I feel like it gives you a really seamless, really blended, non-blotchy, like non-choppy highlight look. It just blends everything in really nicely. The second brush that I want to mention is this one right over here. This is the Morphe M510. So again, it looks like this. It looks like just a really big eyeshadow like blending brush, but it's really good for highlight. So how, again, I like to use this, take it, and I believe it's natural hair as well, and it applies it really seamlessly. It doesn't look blotchy. It looks really seamless. But this one, it's controlled. It's really precise as to where I'm putting it, it would go right in this area. Whereas if you see, if I put a fan brush and I was to put a fan brush on my face, do you see how it's like kind of like this whole area is gonna go down to like my cheek area and everything if I'm using this. Whereas this one, it's more kind of like where I put it is where my highlights mainly gonna be. So that's what these two different brushes are, but both of these are my favorite for highlighting. Moving along to eye brushes. This is the Morphe M433, my all-time favorite. They're both M433. This is natural hair. As you can see, they're really small brushes. They're not too big. And then you could use the flat side of it for shading. So if you wanted to use the flat side, you could use it for shading, or you could use like the tip of it really nicely for blending. So that's why I really like this brush. And again, I have like 10 of these. You just need one M433. Trust me, it will change your life. It's a really good brush. So the Sigma E25 is actually pretty similar to the M433. This is the Sigma one, and that's the Morphe one. So that's what these two look like side by side. Again, pretty similar, and I think they're both natural brush bristles, and they both work the same way. You could use the flat side for, you know, shading, and then use the pointed side for more of a blended, precise look. This is the Morphe M441. It's just this really big, it's more like this round blending brush. The fullness and the firmness of it really allows for a beautiful application. It's not as tapered as this one. So this is what I mean by tapered, where it looks like pointed, whereas that one is more round, if you can see. Okay, so when I'm going in with my transition shade, I love using a big brush like this. Again, picking up product, it really just fits perfectly in your eye socket area, and you can blend really nicely. It gets in that whole area, and again, you go from outer corner to inner corner and just blend in windshield wiper motions back and forth. So I really recommend this one right over here. Another one that's really good for blending your creases, this Morphe M330. Again, it's a tapered brush like this. Again, it's fluffy, just, you know, again, diffusing harsh lines and blending everything out. This is a really nice brush. Another one that I would recommend if you want to go in with a big fluffy brush in your crease, this is the Morphe M504. Again, it looks like this. So this is perfect for when you are dusting, you know, your crease, you're blending it. This again is natural bristled, and it's oversized, so it's perfect again to get right in that area and really just blend your eyeshadow out. So this is another one of my favorite brushes. So the 505 is similar to the 504, but just the 504, as you can see, is a lot bigger than this one. So it's kind of used for the same purpose because it's a lot smaller. It's perfect for you know, again, blending colors in your crease area, and it's precise. Now, if you're looking for a brush, say that you want to, like, you're on the go and you just want to take one single eyeshadow and you want to just slap it all over your lid and just blend it out at the same time, the brush that I like to use for that is the Morphe M524, which is just like this really big shader brush. It's like this, if I put it on the side, that's kind of flat. Again, because it's flat and it has a really nice, you know, fluffy tip, I like to use this to pick up shadow, dust it all over my lid, and then you can also use it to blend out your eyeshadow. So this I really like as well. So these, for example, are 3 different brushes, almost with the same purpose, I would say. So one's a Sigma, one's a MAC, and then one is a Morphe brush. So this one right here is the Sigma. This is the E40. Again, it's a tapered blending brush. So again, I like to use this in my crease and just really blend out all those colors, transition shades, you know, to blend out any harsh lines, anything like that. And then I have the Morphe E27. Again, I really love this brush. The way it functions, the way it blends, it's just so seamless. The MAC brush that I really like and that I've been using like since I first started, this is the MAC 224. Again, it's like a tapered blending brush. I used to use this all the time to, you know, blend out my transition shade. So this is also like a shading brush. This is the Morphe M456. So this is the M456. This is the Morphe M433. I just want to put it side by side so you guys have an idea size wise what they look like. They are pretty much the identical brush. This one's just a lot bigger than this one. This is a lot smaller. So it's nice if you want to just like the outer corner, for example, or just like in that small area, you just want to blend some color. This, I would say, is a perfect brush for that. Moving on to more smaller brushes, like detailed brushes. The first one here is this Morphe M213. It's this really, really itty bitty, you know, shading brush. I really, really like this. Again, if I'm just taking black eyeshadow and kind of like stamping it on my lash line over here, like above my lid, or if I'm using it to smoke out my lower lash line, I really like this brush. It's tiny, it's precise. You can get right in there. Or if you want to highlight your inner corner, it works perfectly for that as well. I feel like this is a staple in my kit. Another one that I really like for buffing out lower lash line is this Sigma. This is the E15. It's a flat definer brush. It looks like this. Again, it's just flat, straight brush. You could use this again to pack color right in there. I like to use this to stamp on my color, for example, and then I'll use like more of a domed brush like this. This is the Morphe M431. It looks like this. Again, it's like a more of a dome. It's a really tiny dome brush. So I like to stamp on my lower lash line color with this, and then I like to go ahead and blend with this as well. Like I'll use this to blend. So I feel like these kind of go more side by side. Otherwise, if you want to do more of like blending situation, these two are really good. So again, this is the Morphe M431 and this is the Morphe M149. So these are these two brushes right here. Again, you could tell this one here is a lot smaller and more tapered, like really precise. This one's a little bit more fluffier, but they do both the exact thing. Again, it just really precisely blends your eyeshadow out. Also, if you want to, for example, use creams, or like if you want to cut your crease and you're using like more of a cream product, I would recommend these brushes right over here to cut your crease, to use any sort of cream product. Again, these are the two brushes. This is the Morphe M224 and the Morphe M421. As you can see, size wise, this one is a lot smaller than this one. Okay, so again, you could use this to cut your crease. You could also use these kind of brushes for your concealer if you want something small and like to be able to just get right in there and to conceal any blemishes, dark circles, all sorts of stuff. This really gives you a really good finish. So that's this one here. Now, another brush that I want to mention, this is the Sigma E70. It's like an angled brush like this. You guys have seen me use this as well. I love this brush to contour my nose just because I feel like the way it's shaped, it gets right in there. Again, because again, my nose is not 100% straight, I would say. This kind of just helps me draw the illusion of more of a straighter nose, or just to contour. You can again use this for your crease and anything like that. It's a multi-purpose brush. It's great. I always recommend having a small angled brush like this in your kit. You never know when you can use it. A brush that I really like for eyeliner is this one right over here. Even though I like to use liquid liner, anytime I use gel eyeliner, I really like to use this one right over here. I got this one, I can't remember which one this is, but this is just a pointed slant brush. Again, it's like this synthetic material, but I love the way it picks up gel products, and it's like that perfect, you know, angled where you can get really nice sharp wing with this. So I really, really like this for eyeliner. Another brush that you can use is more of like a brush like this. It's again more like straight. I feel like angled brushes help a lot with eyeliners, whereas straight ones are more harder to work with. But again, it's personal preference, whatever you're more comfortable with. A small brush like this will do really good too. I'll again list some of the brushes that don't have names. I will list them down below. And moving on, I think I'm almost done. I want to talk about eyebrows, which is another important part. A lot of people use, you know, pomades, or a lot of people use pencils and stuff like that to apply their eyebrows as well. For me, when I use eyeshadow to apply my eyebrows, I really like to go in with this brush right over here. This is the Morphe M158. It's an angled brush like this, and again, I feel like it's synthetic material, so it just picks up the product really nicely. I always like to dampen this first, whether it's with the makeup wipe, with the a finishing spray, a setting spray, and then I like to go ahead and pick up my eyeshadow, and I feel like I get a really nice, you know, precise brow with this. It does come with the spoolie on the other end. My spoolie, I don't know where it went, so I just use a regular spoolie to brush out my brows, and then I like to use this to go ahead and shape them. Now moving on to the last thing for my brow bone highlight. You could use any small brush. For me, this has been working for years and years and years. It's just a flat shader brush. Again, this does not have a name on it, but it's just any flat brush like this. I just feel like when I pick up my highlight shade, it fits, like, I'm not even joking, fits right in my brow, and I love the way it applies my brow bone highlight. I really like this. Again, sometimes I'll use it in my inner corners. Otherwise, I really, really like it to apply brow bone highlight with. You could use synthetic brushes. I just find that this brush works so nicely for me. And that's it for brushes, you guys. That is all I have for brushes, explaining what brushes are good. But if you just are starting out and you don't want to invest so much money, but you know, you want to have some good brushes, honestly, Morphe brushes are cheap, they're reasonable, and they're really good quality, I would say. I just feel like if you were to go get MAC brushes, they are expensive. That's why I only have 1 or 2 MAC brushes in my whole entire makeup brush kit. I legit have the 224, and I had one more which I can't seem to find where it went, but these brushes are hella expensive. Yes, they're good quality, they last a long time as well, but the price of one brush, you can probably get like 5 Morphe brushes. So I think this was like 25 or 30 bucks. So what I use to clean my brushes, I did get something new that I shared on my haul as well, that the brush cleaner that I got from Amazon. I haven't tried it yet. I will do a video of like an updated how I wash my brushes, and I'll try that and see if it works, if it's any good. But I haven't tried that yet. But what I use for now, and what I've been using for the past like since I had started makeup, has been this Sigma brush, right? I mean Sigma glove thingy right over here. Again, it looks like an oven mitt, it's rubber, but I really like the fact that it has this like sleeve thingy inside, so it really helps you hold onto it, and I really like the way it cleans your brushes. So again, you just take whatever soap you're using, and I'll take my brush, and I really like how it has these little grooves and stuff in here that you could use, you know, and it really gets all the makeup out. And then you can, there's this smaller textured area, you could use that to clean as well, and then you could use this to squeeze and refine your brush. So I basically have been using this for, I would say, like a good 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years, and it's still really good condition because again, it's rubber, it doesn't get damaged or anything, and it's really easy to clean this as well. You just wash it with soap, let it air dry, and that's it. If you guys enjoyed this video, I hope it was informative. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys want to see next. I always like to hear from you, and I hope you guys learned something about makeup brushes and what brushes are key, what brushes you need, and all that stuff. Again, I showed you the brushes that I have and that I use on an everyday basis, but again, I showed you a lot more just to give you different varieties and different options. You don't have to have all of these. Do what works for you. Again, trial and error. You know, everybody kind of goes through that to see what works for them. I do want to film a question and answer video, so I don't know if you guys are interested in Q&As. I love doing them. If you guys are interested, you know, you could leave me some questions on my DMs, you could tweet me. Go ahead and click that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed, and don't forget to hit that bell notification thing so that way you get notified every single time I upload a video. And I will see you guys on my next one. Bye.